The Closet Disco Queen podcast is the #1 ranked women in cannabis podcast by both FeedSpot and Million Podcasts 2025 and is produced by Humble Pond Productions, LLC.
Thanks for joining us at the Closet Disco Queen podcast. Grab a brownie or doobie, pass us to your friends, and be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And be sure to leave us a 5-star review as it helps others find us. Peace out.
Well, hello.
Hello, Queenie.
How are we today?
We're doing well. We've weathered all the Midwest storms so far.
Oh my God.
Have been instructed.
Shelter in place?
Yes. Go down to your safe place. Go to your safe place. And we were also instructed that it would be a good idea to wear a bike helmet and sneakers.
My God, that's the first time I've heard something so explicit. And, that does make sense.
Well, because, debris hitting your head, I guess,
Wow.
And your footsies, if there's debris.
Well, you want to be able to. That's why they say don't wear flip-flops when you're flying.
Oh, really?
Well, if the plane goes down or you have to evacuate quickly, you want to be able to have, you should have good shoes, sneakers.
I've never heard that one either. So there you go. Anyway, we've had a lot of rain, and there were a couple touchdowns nearby, a couple tornadoes touchdown, but it's really
when you say nearby,
there was one just outside of Madison. There was, and last night we were watching. It's so funny. The weathermen, it's like, this is the best day of their lives. They're so funny. Oh, we've got some tornadic activity here. You can see, you can see the wall. Yeah. Now here's the rotate. Look at this. We're getting some rotational activity here. You can see it. And I'm like, it just looks red and green to me. I don't see any tornadic activity, but anyway, yeah. So it's overcast again today. I think we're supposed to get more rain, but everything's coming up. I did get a chance to work out my garden. Well, that's between the storms, and that was lovely.
A little dirt therapy.
Good therapy for me. Yes.
Good.
How about you?
We've had rain on and off. We've had quite a bit of rain, wind.
Yeah.
Although we have had some thunderstorm watches and occasional warnings, but nothing tornadic here yet.
Yeah, we had the thunderstorms too, and some places got a lot of hail. And anyway, the poor puppy dog has been shivering and shaking for the last 4 days as the thunderstorms roll through. But
Zeus is throwing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And thunder. Oh, is that Thor? The god of thunder, mighty Thor.
There you go. Zeus and Thor. And Thor are busy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so it's been, the weather's been here and there. It got up to very warm.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Just touched 80, 79, 80.
Wow.
And too warm too quickly.
Well, you know what? It was so nice out that I planted some stuff. And now I'm seeing that tonight, or is it tomorrow night, it's going down to 28 degrees. And I was like, perhaps I was a bit premature.
we may get a flurry or two tomorrow. So
it's maddening, just when you think it's spring.
It's spring in the Northeast. Well, you're going through it too, so it's not just the Northeast. But I have told my assignees, I said, please do not rest. I've seen snow in this area in May.
Please do not think we're out of it.
The face goes blank, really, no.
Nobody told me this when we were interviewing. Yeah.
When I signed up, I was sold a load of bullshit. But that's the reality, the harsh reality.
Anyway, but that's, not a whole lot that's going on here.
Our Closet Disco Queen podcast deals with legal adult cannabis use and is intended for entertainment purposes only for those 21 and older. It's interesting. We spoke briefly yesterday about the Pope fighting with the president. And we shouldn't even term it that way. I would say
responding to
the Pope standing for what the Pope stands for.
Right.
Every day, what he represents when he
verbalizes
what he represents, which is a desire for work. The whole deal.
Yeah.
The religion thing,
Yeah.
I read an article by Maureen Dowd this morning, and it's opened up with her basically saying he met Pope Leo because he's just being so vigilant in just saying what's right
Right. Yeah.
And good and necessary, she's considering returning to church. I said something similar to you yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
You know, if for nothing else, is just to support him.
Yeah.
In his stance, in the stance.
The
It shouldn't be
stance.
his stance. The stance.
It's the stance of every major religion, too.
Well, it's also the stance of good humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the stance of good humans.
It
This
should
is what
be-
we should strive for. This should be the underpinning of understanding for behavior
Yes.
worldwide.
Yes.
The basis
Yes.
for this.
Yes, absolutely. Compassion, taking care of each other, all those good things.
All those good things.
Yeah.
Lending a hand to those who are less
And
fortunate.
isn't it interesting that the people who profess to be Christians
are the ones just slicing and dicing everything.
Yes, yes.
Well,
Can you, our vice president, thinking
It's
that he knows
white
more about
Christians.
theology. Well,
yes, than
white
the Pope.
Christians.
Well, come on now. Yeah, come on. Of course he does. Of course he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's white theology, white
It is white.
Christianity.
Yes,
it's
you're
not
right. You're right.
anything that's universal
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
So I just found that very interesting. So Maureen Dowd was an interesting little twist, and I could certainly relate to this article big time because I was having the same thoughts myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
it'll be interesting to see if that actually does have an impact, on people's return to church. I know there are a lot of us Catholics that are not right now practicing and have, kind of felt like we've been disenfranchised, and maybe this will bring people back.
Perhaps. And she did. She pointed to the sex abuse scandals and, the whole deal, why she became disillusioned with the church and how she became disillusioned. And I, to your point, I think this gives people pause.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you or allows you the opportunity to maybe reassess your relationship with the entity, which is represented by men.
Right.
Let's be by humans, I should say, humans. And, does this guy, is this man more in line with what I was hoping for from this organized body? So, and we've also seen, I guess you mentioned yesterday, there's been an increase in people converting to Catholicism. So you'd have to believe that it's, Leo has had some impact there. So we'll see. I find this very interesting.
Thank you, Pope Leo.
Yes, thank you, Pope Leo. Thank you. Really, it's a little positive that there, like you said, there is one person, one man in the world who's willing to not cower, to just directly
say, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, basically.
This is
evil.
the truth. This is the
You
truth
are
of what is happening. Yeah. And your actions are evil.
So, all right.
Enough of that.
On from that.
Pope Leo the 14th, born right here, USA. Fathered by Padre Rob, Uncle Sam's nephew. Ole. He put on the white hat and the little white shoes and picked a fight with the biggest bully on the evening news. No translator needed, he speaks fluent American shade. Looked right into the camera and was not afraid. The bully posted memes of himself dressed up as the Christ. Leo didn't flinch, just blessed him twice. Said, I'll be praying. That's advice. Father Bob's got hands, holy hands, but hands. He doesn't need a podium or a social media rant. He's got a billion Catholics and a Zaketo and a plan. And the bully met his match in a quiet holy man. Father Bob, Padre Rob, nephew of Uncle Sam. The meek are inheriting the earth, and the earth said amen. The bully said, I put him there. Leo said, that's not how popes work, son. The bully said he's weak on crime. Leo's touring Africa getting things done. The VP said with weaponized serenity. Now the pews are filling up like it's 1962. Not because they found religion, but because they found a dude in a robe and funny hat with an actual moral spine, who said, "Blessed are the peacemakers," and made the bully whine. 84% approval in America. That's wild. The bully's falling underwater, and the Pope just smiled. He called out the masters of war, spending billions on the bombs, while Leo walked through Africa saying peace and dropping psalms. The bully called him terrible. Leo called him child of God, which is honestly the most devastating diss I've ever heard. Dear Lord. Father Bob's got hands, rosary hands, but hands. He won't debate, won't take the bait, won't stoop to understand why a man who posed as Jesus is afraid of an actual man of faith. Father Bob, Padre Rob, nephew of Uncle Sam, the meek are inheriting the earth. And the church said, welcome back. Confessionals are packed, not cause we sin, but cause we finally found a God who made the bully blink.
So, TT, what have you consumed today?
Well, I have kind of fallen in love with a little vape pen that we got from Shannon last week from Healthy Honeys. I just love this little thing.
Oh yeah, the blueberry blast.
Yeah, it's really, first of all, I don't have to wait for it to work. It works right away. I mean, pretty much like within minutes. I feel the effect. Whereas with the gummies, I have to time it out and everything.
Right.
And play with it. Honey and I actually both partook of it yesterday and had a nice time. So that was good. But yeah, that's what I had, just a puff before our show.
Cool.
And how about
And it's
you?
not harsh.
No, it's not harsh.
It doesn't have any of that vapey, I don't know, sometimes with vapes, it can like catch
Yeah.
in your throat, not like it does when you're smoking a joint, but there's the only thing I can describe
chemically
it as, like a
taste.
chemical catch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's,
And this doesn't, although I did yesterday, trying to activate it, I took a really hard
much.
pull on it. And I was like,
yeah, because
I'm not used to smoking, because.
Well, yeah. And with the vapes, I think most of them are activated by the pull. So you do have to be a little, and sometimes just you won't get anything, as you noted last week. You have to suck on it a couple times and then it'll open up.
Yeah.
And that's when you probably took the big old gulp.
It's kind of like a siphon. Yeah.
Yes, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that you're enjoying that.
I am really enjoying it. Yes, I'm really looking forward to our party.
Our party. Yeah, that'll be a fun time.
Can't wait.
We'll be able to talk about that soon. But, so you are blueberry blasting.
I am. What are you doing?
I have a bevy. I think I had this last week, the High Peak strawberry lemonade.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think I might have had, I had the strawberry rhubarb last week.
Okay.
That was good.
Yeah.
I think the strawberry rhubarb.
Is that your favorite?
It is up there. I like that apple drink we
Cider.
had too from Heirloom. Yeah, that was
very
This
good.
is tasty. It's very refreshing.
Okay. Nice.
Got a nice little.
Is that a weedy smell taste at all?
No. This does have a little bit of a carbonated sparkling. Sparkling. So, yeah, it's very, very tasty. So that is what I'm doing.
Take a slug.
Yummy.
What's the latest buzz? TT, tell me the news. Where is it legal? No one knows. What's the latest buzz? TT, tell me the news. Where is it legal? No one knows.
TT, do you have a story for us today?
I have a story. Just a couple of days ago, a bill was introduced that would, a bipartisan bill. So 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat are sponsoring this bill that would let states opt out of the federal recriminalization that was enacted back during the budget talks.
Oh, during the big, beautiful bill?
Yeah. Yeah, the big, beautiful bill, that whole thing about recriminalizing hemp THC products. This bill, if passed, would effectively let the states opt out of all of the repercussions.
Of compliance with the law.
Yes, exactly. They could opt out, which is a really interesting way to do it. But Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota ran Paul from Kentucky, and Kentucky's a big farming state, and this is a huge product.
They transitioned a lot of their crops to hemp.
Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah. Kentucky was a big tobacco state. People, fewer and fewer people are smoking tobacco. Right. What do you do with all this lovely agricultural gold land? Right. So they transitioned to hemp, and now they're within months of losing that industry.
Right.
You can only make so much.
The whole thing, it would devastate the industry. So Rand Paul, Amy Klobuchar, and Joni Ernst from Iowa, their bill states that Indian tribes and states, the individual states, could decide to continue regulating, allowing hemp THC products to be produced and sold in their jurisdictions despite the ban. So what's happening is the states that already have, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar business, right? The states that already have things in place are like, we already do this. We already have age limits. We already regulate.
We're testing.
We're doing it. Yeah. About half of the states have their own regulatory rules. So they're saying, why not allow us to do this? The other thing the bill does is it allows interstate commerce between states that have applied for and received to opt out. So
this is the weirdest sounding thing.
It's really weird. Yeah, but they're hoping, because Amy Klobuchar sits on the agricultural committee. And so they're hoping to attach this to the next farm bill. So, yeah, it's kind of weird that they're having to create this whole new workaround instead of just saying this was a bad idea and abolishing it. Yeah, they're not doing that. And so in order to...
So they couldn't just say, we're going to pluck this out of here? I don't understand. Like, they can't say we're going to repeal Article 3, Section 2, Article 3 of the big, beautiful bill.
Well, I think they could, but they don't have the support for that because there are states that still are
want to enforce the ban.
So what they're saying is, okay, fine, if you want to, in your state, do that. But the other states are relying on this commerce for taxes, for, I mean,
might
for
be the
everything.
workaround.
So this might be the workaround. I'm just trying, let me find here. There was, it's quite, you have to fill out an application and then, according to this new law that you'd have to fill out an application and then you'd have to have prove, that your efforts are working, what you have in place is going to be working. So there's a big, long process. The governor and the legislature have to agree upon it. So if you've got a state where, the governor's anti-weed, it might not go through. But anyway, this is a whole process that states would have to go through in order to be accepted.
Wow.
And have this waived, the new thing waived. So anyway, but we'll keep an eye on that because that's the only thing that's gonna save us.
Well, I meant to ask.
Plus, they just this month launched an initiative, and Shannon talked a little bit about this, to cover up to $500 worth of hemp-derived products for eligible Medicare patients. So they've approved that. So it's like there's so much
they're really
movement forward.
This is just like
they're making it more difficult than it should be, and it shouldn't be
throwing
this hard.
Up blocks. Yeah. It's just throwing up blocks.
Right. So anyway, let's hope this works. So that
and I can't
those of us who are in states that where it's legal now, what am I going to do here in Wisconsin? I don't know, but I'll drive to Illinois, I guess.
Yeah,
I know. It just seems like we shouldn't be having to do this dance you know.
Well, it's coming close.
I know.
And
it's only months away.
This is going to have major impact on, so many businesses.
Think of all the jobs.
Well, the jobs, right. Just the production, the agricultural part. Then you've got the processing, then you've got the transportation, and, packaging.
All of it.
Everything.
Yeah.
Marketing.
And the marketing, the dispensaries themselves, employees. It's just, So it should not be more difficult than alcohol. It just shouldn't.
Unbelievable. Well, we'll just keep watching what's going to happen. I mean, like I said, anything could happen. Something bizarre could come out of this if it's needed, if a distraction's needed. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? True. He could be, he could legalize mushrooms for all we know. Anything's possible, but this is weird. This is, it's interesting. It's an interesting workaround, but it just seems that there should be a more direct way to do it. We can't reverse a bad piece of legislation.
Right. I know. Well, I think this is a way to possibly keep things moving for the business, for the whole industry, to keep the industry from having a huge collapse, because it could collapse. And then what will it take to get it up and running again? Right. So I'm just thinking maybe this is the way that they're saying, okay, well, until we see what happens with the midterm elections and you know what I mean? Well, let's just try and push something through now so that the states who want to be involved can be. So I wonder if that's
a back ass way of doing it.
It is. But we're forced to doing that kind of stuff right now. We're forced to doing this runarounds to get past,
it's idiocy. Good God. Well,
so if you are in touch with your representatives, you could make an effort to make a phone call, drop an email, and just say that you support this legislation.
I support this.
I support this legislation.
Allow this to continue.
Please allow this to continue. Yeah, it's called I don't have the number, but it's called the Hemp Safety Enforcement Act.
So that's the name of the act.
That's the name of the bill, yeah.
But it's supposed to allow states to opt out of the Hemp Safety Enforcement Act.
Well, no. The Hemp Safety Enforcement Act is different than the what was in the Farm Bill, in the budget. So they're saying there is going to be, I think they named it that to reassure people that children will still be safe. There's already rules in place for that.
Right.
In the states where it's legalized, it's the states where it's not, where this other stuff is,
Right, that they're just letting things happen willy-nilly.
Right. Yeah. Safety Enforcement Act.
All righty. As with everything, time will tell.
Yes, it will.
Well, thank you, TT, for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome.
Attention.
Either or, peace, war, Madonna, whore, this, that, skinny, fat, dog, cat, yes, no, stay, go, high, low.
Okay, so TT, as I had mentioned a few short weeks ago, I was finding it more and more challenging to identify new material for woulda, coulda, shoulda. So it's with, a little trepidation. I have to inform you that I think we've tapped out on that, at least for now.
I wish I could have gone out on a high note because last week I shit the bed completely. I hate that phrase, especially applied to myself.
Well,
but that is what happened. So maybe it is a good time. Maybe it is a good time to move on. Yeah.
To transition into something else.
Transition.
If you recall, transition. We, at one point, played a game called Would You Rather? And we did have quite a bit of fun with that. So
we did.
The idea there was I'd present a situation, and the ultimate question is either or, would you rather, something along those lines. So a choice. You have to make a choice, and then we have to find out why.
Okay. I like it.
So,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So
let's try it.
That's what we're going to do. Would you rather never feel relaxed again or never feel creative again?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Might as well start out with a bang.
Wow, that's a really difficult one. Never Never feel relaxed or never feel creative.
Which would you choose, and pourquoi? Oh, and we have to talk about hungry.
Yeah, we do.
Because I got a cramp.
I'm hungry. I would rather not be able to relax than not be able to be creative, I think. And I think I could probably be doing an end run around that in a way.
Oh, see, now you're thinking of how to subvert the very question.
But during my creative process, I do get a sense of peace. I don't know that I would be relaxed, but I would get at least a glimmer through my creative process of peace. So I think, I can't imagine having like no ability to create. That just sounds like a very empty type of existence.
Even if you were just, a bundle of nerves.
Listen, I'm already a bundle of nerves all the time. Life wouldn't be that much different. Well, then I just need a lot more indica.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's a way around.
There's a workaround. How about you? Which of those scenarios would you prefer?
That is a tough one. I have to agree with that. That's difficult. I see your point. I definitely I'm torn on this one. Mm-hmm. This is a definite, you got to come down on one side or the other.
What'll it be? No more making songs?
I know. Well, you're right. I'd have to say I can't give up the creativity because that's where humor comes from. Yeah, the whole deal. I know I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. And you're right. I'm already an anxious mess. So do I really even know how to relax? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I rarely. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm not working full time, but I sit at this desk full time. Like, what the fuck am I doing?
I know. But isn't it nice to be able to say, that's what I want to do, and I can do it, right?
I guess if you're, I guess. But I also wonder if I'm just a slave to routine.
Habit?
Yeah. Or I'm, it's a comfortable way to avoid whatever. It's like, I mean, I think one of the things that probably comes with being relaxed, which we rarely do, is to feel like okay about everything you're doing, right? Right.
Like, oh yeah, whatever,
Like I have the time. I could be like engaging in sound baths and things like that. You know what I mean? Like I could be meditating 3 times a day.
Oh,
I could be
tell me about it.
Learning, a new language.
I realize that my phone even though I don't want it to, tells me how much time I spend on it.
Right.
And I realized I could have an advanced degree by now for the amount of time I spend playing games on my phone. So, I do sometimes think, well, that isn't really how I want to be spending my time. But if it's something I enjoy and something that relaxes me, then why not? The thing is, we have a choice now. We're fortunate.
But we've given up relaxation, recall.
That's true. We have. So I don't know. I think sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. We have our whole lives had to strive. We don't have to strive anymore. We don't.
I don't.
It's hard not to.
Right. I guess I haven't really given it up, whatever it is. I'm not there. I'm not. I'm just not.
Yeah. You're not retired in your mind. Well, you're not retired. You're working still. But
well, I mean, yeah, I know. But that's to me, that's.
But you always have to be doing something.
That's
you feel
that maybe that's the thing. Yes. Yeah. And I it's
doing something quote productive.
Yes.
And what you consider to be productive that's the thing. What do you consider to be productive? If you consider meditating to be productive because it makes you more grounded and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Well, I think it's important. I think you have to back up a little bit and then decide what is it? What's the goal?
Right.
Right. And I think that's maybe what I'm struggling with at this point.
Yeah. What's the goal?
Like, again, my old job was in the paper at Crossgate. This is the third or fourth time.
It. Yeah. You considered it.
I loved that job.
Yeah.
I loved the environment. I loved it. I loved.
And you were good at it. And people loved you too.
Well, not according to corporate.
Well,
that's another story. But
that's a whole other story.
So why is my mind even going there? I'm like, just stop.
One of the things that I've noticed being retired is that I do miss, there's a sense of pride, accomplishment, whatever, doing a good
Identity?
job part of, identity and being seen and known as someone who is competent and knowledgeable and, you know.
You have an area of expertise, for example, or
Right.
you know, through your
I-
work.
I kind of miss that, but not enough to give up the other parts of being retired. I guess that's just it. You know, what is it that you need? And what is it that is going to feed your soul, basically, you know? Because the other thing is, I don't want to, although right now I'm not doing a whole lot in terms of volunteer work or anything like that, right? I gave up a lot of that stuff that I was doing. I feel like I am becoming a better person myself. I am, you know, with meditating and reading and, you know, just kind of trying to live mindfully, that I think that it makes me a better human and that being a better human in the world is important. And that's an important goal as well as all those other things that we mentioned.
I agree. You know, that's the basis for everything. It's just good.
Yeah.
Being good. There's got to be a starting point. But I guess I don't feel like I've had permission to even explore a goal or an endpoint, or
Who do you need permission from?
I don't feel I'm in a position to. I have, you know, my mother. I have a commitment.
Of course.
So that right now is pretty much the anchor to
the decisions you can make right now.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
sometimes that anchor feels like a burden, and sometimes it feels like an accomplishment. You know, being able to keep your mom, have her be able to live the way she wants to at the end of her life. I mean, that is huge in my mind anyway. And so, yes, I think sometimes because as caregivers, we don't get recognition or appreciation of what that role entails and how important it is from other people. We don't give it to ourselves. And that is a huge, huge thing, what you're doing. And so, you know, to even think about trying to work full time while you're doing that is impossible, I think.
But why is that even a flicker
in your mind?
Yeah. Why can't I just?
Because you enjoyed that job. You loved that job. And that's one of the things that pulls you back, right? Is if it's something that you really enjoyed. My last job, I really enjoyed it up to a certain point, and then I was just like, it's time for me to go. I'm just not enjoying this anymore. So I don't have those wistful feelings about that job, but I have wistful feelings about other jobs that I've done, you know, that I think about. And seeing that there's an opening in a place that you loved to work, of course you're going to start to think about it. That's a trigger. How could you not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I do think that we're the ones who have the power to, I mean, we are so programmed, so freaking programmed in our behaviors, you know, that, but we're the only ones who can say yes or no.
Well, yeah.
To whatever, you know, like somebody said to me the other day, well, what are you up to? What are you going to be doing? You know, what kind of projects are you working on? I was like, nothing. I mean, I've got the podcast, but you know, I have my garden. I have my children. I have like, that's enough for me right now. I don't need the extra income. I think that's the thing. I don't need outside validation as much anymore. And I think that that's what working had given me in some respect, you know, some sort of validation. And so I don't need that. I don't know if that makes sense, but, you know, I'm finally, after almost 70 years, being comfortable with who I am, you know, and saying, again, that's a big fuck it, you know, fuck it to what other people think I should be doing with my time. You know, the implication in that question that I was asked is, you should be doing something, right?
Now, where did this come from again?
A friend, you know, but it's, yeah, I I didn't take the bait. I did initially. I was like, well, I could do this. I could go back to that. I have all this volunteer experience.
But what do you think the impetus was behind that question?
I think some of it is just this mindset, this striving, accumulating, capitalistic mindset we have, that the most important thing is to achieve and acquire. Mm-hmm. So I think for someone who's 15 years younger than me, that's where they're at in their life, and I understand that.
Right.
So I think some of that comes from not even being able to fathom, what do you do all day long, and aren't you wasting your life? That's their judgment, But I'm feeling secure enough in myself that I can say, well, that's what I choose. I choose to do this podcast, even though my son says I'm leaving a questionable digital footprint.
Well, I know we're leaving quite the digital footprint.
This is what. Let's see, when your what are they called? Descendants are on Ancestry.com. This is what's going to pop up.
Oh, look what I found.
She was
bizarre, ancient
ritual.
Yeah, there was a very primitive
herbs.
Form of communication.
Right.
Very primitive.
We were beloved in Hungary, though.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Hungary.
We've got a list and it's getting long, petty to profound, what feels so wrong? Sticky notes and middle-aged sass. If it don't serve us, it can kiss our ass. Fuck it, fix it, or forget it. We're seasoned queens, don't regret it. If it drains our soul or wastes our wit, we file it under, oh hell no, skip it. From bad bras to toxic friends, we draw the line and tie the ends each week. A gripe or hill to die on with Queenie and TT. The bucket list lives on.
What's on our bucket list this week?
Well, this week I realized that it's okay for me to say fuck it to patronizing stores in which I have been treated with less than respect.
There you go. Do you have an instance that you'd like to
share? Yes.
Highlight for us so you can give us an example, my dear?
Okay. I was in a pharmacy, and a very well-known chain of pharmacies, and the pharmacy tech was giving me a hard time about a prescription I was getting. And he presented to me this prescription in a form in which I could not use it. And I said, that is not what was written on the prescription. He said, it's the same thing. And I said, no, it's not. And I was almost in tears. Okay. And
may I ask a question?
What's that?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Was this product a female product? Was it something that was
yes,
for women only?
Yes. And it was a young male pharmacy tech. So there's part of the problem.
But he argued with you.
He argued with me. I'm an older, gray-haired woman. And he was telling me that this was the same thing, even though it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the pharmacist even went back and looked, and she said, "Oh no, that's not the same thing." But I walked out of there.
So what was the thing that was? What was the difference? Was it a dosage? Was it a method of
a
use?
delivery method? Yeah,
okay.
Method of use, which would have been impossible. So anyway, the method he gave me was used for something completely different. A completely different medical thing. So anyhow, I said, I'm just not doing business with them anymore. And I switched all of my prescriptions over to a different pharmacy, and they've been wonderful. And I'm like, I'm never going to patronize that store again. I was treated very badly. And they called me at one point to say, you have a refill. And I said, I'm not using you anymore because I was treated badly. So hopefully that the word got out to someone. But why help someone make money? Right? Why give my business to someone who's going to treat me like shit? I'm not.
That's true. You've got a point there. We should not accept poor customer service, and not being treated with respect and dignity.
Right.
Or discretion.
Yeah.
Why can't you just say, you know what? Let me just check with the pharmacist.
Let me just go check.
What harm would it have been to do that? Right. And to say, you know what? You're right. Or why don't I just take this back? And you don't have
and the other thing I was told was, well, because my husband picked it up, he didn't know from it. I said, my husband just picked this up and I want to return it. And he said, well, we don't usually take returns. This is the only time you'll be able to do this. And I said to him, well, maybe next time you'll get it right the first time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you,
I did.
TT.
I was able to come out with that, but
good for you.
Normally I think of things afterwards that I should have said,
But you said it.
I said it.
Bravo. Brava.
So,
Very good.
when you think about, I also, I try to make sure that the businesses that I support financially, where I buy my stuff, that they have humane and, what the business practices are humane.
Right. Ethical.
Ethical,
humane.
That's it. Yeah. They treat their employees well.
Right.
They don't pollute, all these things that are important to me. And so I do have a list
support fascist reasons.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But this is,
I hear you.
But I never thought about the fact that how I'm treated is just
money
as
is power.
important, right?
That's right.
As how,
that's right.
What they're supporting. So anyway.
Look at the impact that the whole movement punishing companies that capitulated over DEI.
Yeah.
Look at Target. Target, I think the impact was like a 40% decline year over year. It was huge.
Yeah.
So we
I
have power.
I have not bought a thing from Amazon since Trump was inaugurated. That asshole sitting there, in the front row. I was just like, nope, sorry. You're already a multi-billionaire. You don't need my business. Or I choose not to give you my business. Yeah. That's just an example, but
no, I mean, I've held principled things in the past. I have a funny story. My kids, when the kids were in middle school, they took a bus trip to Colonial Williamsburg. It must have been 7th grade, and there were chaperones. It was an overnight, obviously, and they were on the road traveling, and we got a call stating that. I believe, I can't remember if it was both of them, definitely Lauren, they were having some challenges because they had stopped at a Cracker Barrel to eat. And my child informed the chaperones and the teacher that I can't eat here. My mom won't let us eat at Cracker Barrel. And I had been very vocal. I'd see the signs, the billboards. I'd say, nope, we're never, ever, ever going to go to Cracker Barrel. And I would tell them why before they had changed their policies toward a same-sex marriage and homosexuality. I mean, they were blatantly discriminating against homosexuals. And it was just a nasty, nasty thing. And it was corporate. It was pretty much corporate policy. So I had just decided that was it. I'm not going to support them, blah, blah, blah. So I had
you had to give her special permission.
Give her dispensation that she could eat at Cracker Barrel. Yeah. So.
God. Good for her, though. I
know. I was very proud. I was like, oh, good for you, kiddo.
Yeah, you know what's right and what's not.
You got to hold on to your principles. Principles. So
and we
I agree.
We all have that kind of power. We don't realize it. And you don't feel like it makes a difference. But when you see what happened at Target, you realize you're a part of that change that's happening. You're a part of making a difference. When we all join together, we have a lot.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you for that one, TT. That was very good. That was very insightful. Fuck it. And I support that wholeheartedly. We should not continue to do business or frequent places that do not treat us with the respect we deserve. Absolutely not. We're not going to do it.
Not going to take it anymore.
That's right. Well, everybody have a wonderful week.
Yes.
And we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks for joining us at the Closet Disco Queen podcast. Grab a brownie or doobie, pass us to your friends, and be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And be sure to leave us a 5-star review as it helps others find us. Peace out.
Carrying a light you didn't even know was lit, a power running your skin. You didn't lose it, honey. You just haven't turned it insane. No, that's the light. Redirected, say no. That's the power. Connected, saying no is not a wall. It's a door, demanding what is right, demanding what is good, demanding what you should have been demanding all along before. They taught us yes was kindness, yes was keeping of the peace. But every silent yes you gave, a piece of you decreased. The power women hold and do not even know they carry is a light so bright it blinds the ones who'd rather keep us buried. Say no, that's your power reclaimed. Say no, nothing left unexplained. No is not a closing, it's an opening roar. Embrace the light you carry, redirected to the sky. Demand what's right and good and never whisper, oh, I just know that is enough.
The Closet Disco Queen podcast is the #1 ranked women in cannabis podcast by both FeedSpot and Million Podcasts 2025 and is produced by Humble Pond Productions, LLC. If you are interested in being a guest, email us at info@humblepond.com or reach out on Facebook. Visit Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and leave us your 5-star review and comments. Thanks.